Welcome,
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 welcome.
welcome.
Welcome to the My Fun Podcast. Yay!
Yay.
Oh my God, I have my beautiful friend who I actually met on LinkedIn about a year ago, Barry.
Yes,
Hi,
I am
Barry.
delighted to be here. It's an honor
Thank
and a
you.
pleasure to be here.
Oh my God, thank you so much. I was actually looking forward to this. I wanted to ask you though, how was your weekend? Did you do any fun stuff?
You know, people ask me all the time, how was your day? How was your weekend? I'm grocery shopping. They'll say, how's your day? My answer is pretty much always the same. It's fantastic.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, look, I don't know if you know my background story, Wanu.
You told me
But
once, but I would love to
when
hear
I
it again.
when I was 25 years old,
Hmm.
okay, I had this incredible job. I was teaching at the University of Florida. I was a very young guy. I was a principal at the age of 21. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, I was teaching at the University of Florida years later. Had been a student of the martial arts for 9 years. At the time, there was today the big game is pickleball. Back in my day, it was this thing called racquetball. And I was actually a professional racquetball player as
Oh,
well as doing all those things. And one day, I sat across the desk from my oncologist who looked at me and said, I'm sorry to say this to you, but you really need to get your affairs in order. You have 3 months, 6 at the most to live. So, fast forward, that's why every day to me is a fantastic day. And just like you have your fun, your compassion, your kindness, I have always had this thing that I say, people will ask me, how's your day? I go, fantastic. And they go, wow, that's a great attitude. I go, yeah, Tigget. And they go, Tigget?
yeah.
What's what is Tigget? And I go, Tigget, TGIT, which stands for me, thank God it's today.
Yeah.
Okay. For some people, it just may be, thank goodness it's today.
Right.
Okay. But it basically started back then when I sat across from that oncologist and he
Wow.
told me literally that I had 3 to 6 months to live. And the cool thing, Tim McGraw has that song about riding a bull named Fu Manchu, live like it's your last day. Well, my doctor had said the same thing to me. He said, look, you have 3 to 6 months to live. If you want, I can connect you with groups of people that are like you, terminally ill cancer patients. And I
Wow.
said, that's okay. I have great friends. I'm just going to make the best out of every day. So here it is, over 50 years later, I'm still having the best day every day that I can possibly have. So, yeah, so I get the FCK, I get the TGIT. And yes, my weekend was great. If I'm here talking to you, it's a beautiful
Wow.
day.
Thank you so much for sharing that story. That is super, that actually warmed my heart. That is super inspiring. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you. Thank you. Thank you.
yes. And
Um,
the background behind it, and I'm not going to share the story, but the background behind it was a very interesting series of events that led to the TGIT.
mm,
Along with that diagnosis, it was the miraculous recovery, because obviously I didn't die
yeah.
in 6 months. And
Wow.
for anybody that is an animal lover, take good care of your animals. My dog, his name was Dante, who happened to be this massive Great Dane that was as tall as me, and I'm 6'2". He
Whoa.
weighed more than me. I believe that he died for me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I think all those little things fit together with
Mm.
the soul, with spirituality. So I'm a very spiritual person. I pray every day, but I'm a spiritual person. I don't I don't follow a specific religion. It's like I have a yin yang, and behind that yin yang is a gold medallion. On one side is a St. Christopher, on the other side is a Star of David. And that was to honor my parents, who both passed a long time ago. But my mother was Catholic, my father was Jewish, and I'm spiritual. So it's just to
Oh,
celebrate any religion, all religion, spirituality. To
yeah.
me, that's what it's all about.
Wow.
So enough about me. I want to hear about you going into the army.
Well, I will share that, but before I do, I appreciate you for sharing the story about the necklace, because as I kept listening to you, I got this pull to ask you, like, what's the story? Because it really caught my attention. Like, what's the
Yeah,
story behind that? But I thank you so much for sharing that.
I'm happy to share.
Uh,
Yeah.
I will answer your question about the army, but I do want to ask you, Barry, what does freedom mean to Barry? What's your perspective on freedom?
Well, freedom to me is having the ability to think and create and be present despite what might be going on around me that I may not believe in or be in harmony with. So, freedom to me is being able to look for and understand that even in the worst of circumstances, we have a choice.
Yeah.
So, freedom, I guess, is the ability to have a choice. If we choose, for each of us, there's every day, there's going to be good and bad.
Mhm.
There was, when I was in graduate school, I was reading a book, and the title of the book was really simple. It was called Do It. I can't remember the author's name, but it was this big, thick book, and but I found it to be a very spiritual book, the do it part. But there was one paragraph in that book that sort of answers your question, what freedom is. And this guy in the book, he wrote that, and I'm quoting him now, our lives are a combination of good and bad,
Mhm.
positive
Mhm.
and negative.
Mhm.
It is the best of times and it is the worst of times all the time.
Mhm.
If we choose to focus on the good that is already present, our lives get better. If not, they don't. Either way, life goes on. So that
Mm.
freedom is knowing that you have the choice of whether you're going to make the best of something or the worst of something. Like there are a lot of people that would have had the diagnosis that I have, and then they became victims.
Yeah.
And I write about this in one of my books. I write about you get to choose. Do you want to be a victim or a victor?
Mm.
And it all comes down to the choices that we make. But most importantly is understanding that we always have that choice. There was a gentleman by a psychiatrist by the name of Viktor Frankl, and he
Finally.
wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. And he really describes what I'm talking about, having been in the concentration camps. But there's a lot of truth behind that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's my answer. Long one, but yes, I have answers for everything. Sorry.
Oh my
But
God, thank you so much.
you're welcome.
There's so much wisdom in that. You know what? I'm actually going to put my army story on the back burner. This leads me to my next question, Barry. From your perspective, what do you feel is your insight on how to be a human being without conditions?
Well, I think if I were to respond to that, the first thing that came to my mind is gratitude.
Mm.
I, I, I believe that that some of the challenges that create those conditions is this horrible perpetual, like I have a 25-year-old son, a 29-year-old daughter, right? And I see the perpetual hunger for them to have more, to be more, okay? And instead of looking at what they already have, okay, and being grateful for what, and we all have things that well, I don't, I would imagine we all have something to be grateful for, but especially for those of us that are living in most places in the world. I mean, if you get up in the morning and you have fresh air to breathe, it's
Yes.
pretty freaking awesome.
Oh yeah.
If you're fortunate enough to have food, and I understand that there's some people that don't, but I think, yeah, gratitude would be the first thing.
Mm.
And I, I think when you start with gratitude, you start to realize, yeah, I remember Wayne Dyer once said, not just to me, but to a whole group of us at one time, he said, anything that you have to have owns you.
Mm. Yes.
And I think that's one of the challenges that we face. So instead of what do we have to have, I have this belief about what true abundance really is. For
Mm.
too many people, true abundance is, oh man, when I'm a millionaire, oh, when I'm driving that kind of car, when I live in that kind of house, I think true abundance, really what it comes down to, when you get to be my age, the lesson becomes even stronger that it's not what you have, rather it's what you give.
Mm.
And so gratitude to me and understanding that if we can find ways to not be selfish, to understand that we're all here, all of us. I think that the one species that exists on this planet that's the worst of them all, and forgive me for saying that, it's the humans. I don't see animals, I don't see trees, I don't see plants, flowers, I don't see them trying to destroy each other. On the other hand, I see they're all working together to take care of Mother Earth and themselves.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a long answer, but when you've got 50 some years of wisdom in there, it just pours out of you. So, every time you ask me a question, I've been asked it before, I've written about it before, and
I
it
I
just
know.
rolls out.
Oh, that's
So,
why I was looking forward to this. That actually leads me to my next question. Like, I really want to hear your perspective. How does compassion and kindness show up in Barry's life every day, and how does that ripple to other people in your life?
uh, it's very simple. For me, I defined that a long time ago. First of all, people ask me, do you know what your purpose is? Well, I know what my purpose has always been, and that is to be a teacher.
Mm.
Whether it was an elementary school teacher, an elementary school principal, teaching at Santa Fe Community College, teaching at the University of Florida, or when I got out of teaching, gave up my tenure at the University of Florida to get into business with my former college roommate. And I knew nothing about business, and together somehow we built a $75 million business. Along the way, I was always teaching. But the simple answer is that not only did I know my purpose was to teach, but my mission has always been to inspire and to empower others to reach their full potential.
Mm.
And I believe that when we have that attitude of gratitude and we have the mindset that how can I help others, the world would be a much better place.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Oh my God. Barry, thank you. You have so much wisdom. It is oozing right now. And I'm actually really curious. What are your top five books that you have read over your lifetime that have, like, you always come back to and you're like, oh man?
Oof, really good question. So let me think about this.
Okay.
Um, Man's Search for Meaning would be one of them.
Mm.
Um, as a matter of fact, there's one that came out recently by Robin Sharma that is now one of my favorite books. And it is, the title of that is The Wealth That Money Can't Buy.
Mm.
And what I loved about it is that I read an excerpt from the book. So I ordered the book, loved the book so much, a big, thick book. But then I said, this is something that I have to go on Amazon, send my son a copy, send my daughter a copy. And what I love about, first of all, Robin Sharma is his books are, he's the guy that wrote The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari,
Oh,
The
yeah,
5 a.m. Club.
yeah. Okay,
And then
okay.
his last book was The Wealth Money Can't Buy. And it's about, he gives 8 things that literally give us wealth, and money is only one of them.
Mm.
And that was what I thought was, so that's one of them, along with Man's Search for Meaning. And I would have to say, uh, 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 mm, mm, hmm. Well, one of the books that I really liked was a book called Many Lives, Many Masters, and it was written by Dr. Weiss, who happened to have been a
I
psychiatrist
think I know that book. Yeah.
at the University of Miami.
Yeah.
And in working with one of his patients, she went back into these other lives.
Yes. Yes.
And he,
Yes.
along with his wife, documented all of this.
Yes.
And that had a huge impact on me. Um, I would say Be Here Now,
Ooh, Ramdas.
which Ram Dass, who fortunately for me, when I was in graduate school, he was actually, and I was teaching at Santa Fe, he actually came and lectured at
Oh,
Santa Fe.
wow.
So it was very memorable, and
Wow.
so I say that's one of my favorites. And then, of course, if I had to add one more, it would be my last book,
Of course.
which is titled This Old Dog Can Teach You New Tricks. And it's the subtitle is Timeless Wisdom for Living Fully.
Mhm.
And the reason why it's one of my favorites is because of all my 9 books, it was sort of like a compilation of what, this is the last one that I wrote about. I've always focused on 3 things, really. Personal growth, which is my number one favorite topic, and leadership, because I had to learn about leadership in order for us to build a $75 million company. And learning is one of the coolest things that you can ever do, right?
Yeah.
And the third thing is sales mastery, because everybody is involved in sales in some
Mm-hmm.
form, shape, or fashion. They may not want to say that they're in sales. So
Yes.
those are the 3 areas that I've written my books about. And but This Old Dog Can Teach You New Tricks. I try my best in every one of my books to get rid of the 80% of fluff that most people put in their books. So it's like when I said Robin Sharma's book, one of the reasons I loved it, The Wealth That Money Can't Buy, is he's gotten rid of the fluff. He's giving you 8 chapters that are boom, boom, boom. If you actually did this stuff, there's this misconception that most people have that knowledge is power. It's not a true statement. We both know that, Juanu, okay? It's only power if you apply it consistently. And what a beautiful
Yes.
word that is, consistency, right?
Mm.
So in my book, This Old Dog Can Teach You New Tricks, it's 42 standalone chapters. Most of my books are standalone chapters. So
Oh,
it's not
wow.
a, my books you don't have to pick up and read from the front to the back. You can just, I tell people all the time, stick
Ah,
it in your bathroom, okay? When you sit down, open it up, and there'll be a chapter there, but it's really, it basically focuses on most of the challenges that either my professional clients or personal clients have had over the past umpteen years. And it was about, okay, what's that all about? Like
mm,
authenticity, vulnerability, dealing with grief, you know, aging gracefully, impermanence. It's each separate topics,
right.
and each chapter is just, 4 or 5 pages, what it is, and action steps on how to deal with it. And so that it is happens to be one of my favorite books.
Oh,
And I
wow.
actually love going back to my own chapters to remind myself when I'm struggling with something. I think I wrote about that. Go back and read it. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That actually leads me to my last question. We all have like peak and valley moments in our lives. So when Barry is going through a valley moment in his life, what quotes, help you navigate that valley moment?
One of them would be you can have anything you want in life if you will just help enough other people get what they want.
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
And of course, we have, be impeccable with your word
Oh, that's a good one.
and all the principles, right?
Yeah, that's a
I
good one.
love that. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I really felt the truth in that. Right before I end this, I know you asked me about the army. Did you have any questions in
Well, the
particular?
reason I asked you is that the key to part of my success was both of my parents. My mother, just because she was the most loving, unbelievable person. I can't think of my mother ever getting angry, yelling at. All
Um,
she ever gave my brother and me was love and kindness.
wow.
My father, on the other hand, always gave us love, but man, was he a badass. Okay.
Wow.
He was one of these guys that dropped out of school in the 8th grade. He went on to be a master sergeant in the military. So
Oh
you
yeah,
can
yeah, yeah, I
appreciate
remember.
in WW2.
Oh
Uh, but
wow.
but along with the my father never heard the words yes or no come out of my brother or my mouth if it wasn't followed by sir or ma'am.
Yeah,
Okay?
right.
He taught me discipline, which
Mm,
I think is one of the most important things that a parent can help their child understand, a teacher can help their child understand, that a business professional can. When I help companies grow, one of the things I say to their leaders is look, here's what it comes down to. Number one, you have to make sure that everybody that works in your company knows what their job is. Number two, and it often gets overlooked, you have to make sure that not only do they know what their job is, but that they know how to do their job. It's
mm,
your responsible, your leadership team, for them to know what they're supposed to do, to know how to do it. The third thing is why. Why what they do matters. And the fourth thing is how it will be measured. See, if you do those four things, some people will say, well, then you're micromanaging. No, what you're doing is you're giving clarity. And whether
mm,
it's a parent with their children, whether it's a teacher in a classroom, or whether you're a leader in a business, when people have clarity, they have freedom. If they know what it
mm,
is they're supposed to do, how to do it, why it's important, and how it will be inspected. My number one rule of leadership is inspect what you expect.
mm.
You have time for one more quick story?
Yes, please, I do.
Okay. Here's one more quick story that goes along those lines. After I had graduated from college and got my master's degree, there was a school in Gainesville, Florida, a private school,
Mm.
and it was a school that was back in those days. There was this famous book that was written called Summerhill, and it was about these free schools that were in England, okay, where parents, their children would go there. Everybody was involved in all the parents. The children could learn everything and anything, right? And so there was a group of parents in Gainesville. Some of them were doctors, some of them were deans of colleges, some of them were professors, some of them were just common everyday, workers doing their jobs. They got together because they wanted their kids to have a different kind of education other than the public school. So they literally built a school in the middle of the Gainesville forest, a loblolly forest, and they were interviewing for somebody to be the person to run the school. So they had already started the school. It had been going for about 6 months, but they knew they needed to bring somebody in that knew something about running a school. I didn't know anything about running a school, but I went and interviewed for the job. And so the first day I said to them, well, I can't tell you whether I'm the right candidate until I have visited the school.
Mm.
So they said, great idea. So I went out and I spent like 3 or 4 hours at this school. And what they considered a free school, I considered chaos. And when I got back together again with this group of parents, I was very straightforward, very honest with them. They said, what did you think? I said, I don't see a free school. I don't see freedom. Because I know you mentioned that word, and it's an important word. I don't see freedom. What I see is chaos. And they asked me to explain. And so I said, there's no structure, there's no discipline. Yes, it's great that you want your kids to learn things, but look, let's be honest about this. There needs to be some structure, because my belief is, and the same thing that proved true in every business I have ever coached and helped, and I've helped build several multi-million-dollar companies. When you have structure, going back to those, know what the job is, how to do the job, why it matters, and how it will be inspected, that structure gives you freedom. And the same holds true for us in our lives.
Yeah.
If we want to have freedom, and we have goals and we have aspirations, we have to create consistency. You know as well as I, you can't go to the gym once a month and think you're going to get results.
Yeah.
You have to have discipline. But I also believe that it's all about, and Ariana Huffington and her group at Thrive define it beautifully. It's all in those micro steps. And that's what I found true in helping companies get better and stronger and helping individuals. It's always those baby steps.
Mm.
I've done way too much talking.
Oh man, thank you so much, Barry. I appreciate your wisdom. I appreciate your light. I appreciate your ripple on this earth. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And for every beautiful human listening to this, when it gets dark, when it gets confusing, kindly come back to some compassion and kindness for yourself. Thank
And
you.
fun. And fun. Make sure you have fun. I kid you not, you'll love this one. I used to have 6 rules of selling. The sixth rule of selling, I created. And I wrote it in one of my books. The sixth rule of selling, woo ba da ba. And I used to teach this to my team. I had 21 salespeople working in my company. And I would say, gang, don't forget remember the sixth rule of selling. Woo ba da ba. And I would make them say it with me. Woo ba da ba. And they would go, what's that? And I would say, it's a word I made up that reminds us to have fun. Because there isn't a single person just like you that doesn't smile when I go, woo ba da ba. So yes, absolutely have fun.
Have fun. Have fun. I
Compassion,
agree. Compassion,
kindness.
kindness. Yes.
Take it.
Thank you, Ticket. Thank God it's today, Barry. Thank you,
Yes,
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
my pleasure.